Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first Intel FutureGen broadcast of 2024. Intel FutureGen is a joint program between ourselves and Intel, where we take 20 students each year who are interested in careers in esports and gaming after they graduate and give them opportunities to expand their knowledge and network. Over the next few months, we'll be providing a series of broadcasts with industry professionals, which are open to everyone. Today we have Michael Odell, also known as ODEE. ODEE has 25 plus years of experience in the esports industry and is currently the director of gaming and esports for Scan. So ODEE, if you could just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, that'd be great.
Obviously Michael Odell is my name. ODEE is my nickname. I've been in esports 25 years now, which is kind of scary. And I grew up loving games from a very young age, and it turned into my job, my career. That's kind of where I am now, still doing it.
Awesome. So what inspired you to venture into esports, and how has your journey evolved over the past 25 years?
Well, it's really two people that kind of literally did inspire me, and it wasn't called esports then. It didn't even have a name. It was just like, oh, people are playing games against each other, and somebody's gonna give them money to play, and that was kind of what it was. So there's two guys. So there's a guy called Sujoy Roy, who's still around in the industry. I'm not sure what he's doing right now, but he's still around, I'm sure, doing something. But he was the first UK pro gamer. He had I think he went to Oxford or Cambridge, and he got a job on Wall Street as a trader. And he was offered a $200,000 deal by Razer, I think it was, to be a pro gamer. And he played Quake. And Quake was the kind of game that I loved at the time. Didn't grow up. I kind of played Doom, and Quake games, shooting games like that were always like what I wanted to play. So reading that story was like, what the hell? I want to do that. And then a guy called Jonathan Wendell came along, Fatality. You should Google these people and look up what they've done if you don't know who they are. Fatality was extremely inspirational for me. I think he won 13, 14 world championships in several different games, mainly FPS. But he was and is probably the toughest, hardest competitor I've ever met in my life in anything. Whatever he does, he wants to win. And as I got to know him over the years, I could see why he became what he became. And he was an inspirational to me to be a player, but also everything else after that. Because like sometimes you play a fun game with him and it wasn't fun because he wanted to win. But that's the mentality you have to win. And I'll never forget that. I can still see him shouting at me now. So yeah, those two. Long answer to that question, but those two are the guys that got me wanting to be in esports that wasn't esports when I wanted to get into it.
Awesome. So as the founder of Dignitas, what challenges did you face in establishing and sort of maintaining a successful esports organization, and how did you overcome them?
So I'm going to look down a lot because I wrote some notes. I'm sorry.
Right.
I forget questions halfway through the question mostly. So I was one of the original founders of Dignitas. Basically, Dignitas was a Battlefield 1942 team, and I was one of the players. And we were the best team in the world. There's absolutely no doubt about that. We won everything. I think we went unbeaten at one point for 18 months, something like that, where we won 140 odd official matches. We were the best. The problem was the internet then wasn't brilliant. The technology wasn't brilliant for playing globally. There weren't LANs. There wasn't world championships on stages for that game. So we never really got to prove that we were the best in the world, but we were the best in the world, I'm telling you. Just believe me.
I believe you.
So the challenges were esports didn't exist. And to be honest, we never set out to be a business. It just became a business, Team Dignitas. So everything was a challenge. It was like, do we have enough players for the match? Because in Battlefield, it was like 10v10. Even there was one tournament we played that was 16 versus 16. So having enough players that finished work or school, or having enough Swedish players available because most of them were getting drafted into the military for their national service. It was tough actually putting a team together, and literally anything you can think of that was tough running a business, which didn't exist at that point, to be honest, was everything hit us hard. So I think we spent our first sponsor money on literally all of it. We blew it on one LAN trying to get there, trying to get a team to a tournament in Germany, which we went to and we won. And we had to take our own computers, which was a nightmare.
Wow.
And we won to big tower cases, like 3 foot high tower cases that we couldn't take home anyway because they were too big. But we just wanted to win.
Understandable.
Mm.
So Dignitas has been involved in various esports titles throughout the years. How did you identify like emerging esports like trends and decide which games to invest in or sport?
At the beginning, when we decided to okay, let's add some more games into this, it really wasn't a case of like, let's do it because for a business case, would be a good idea. It was really, we hated Counter-Strike and we wanted to be bigger than Counter-Strike, and we were annoyed that Counter-Strike was getting all the attention. So we were seen as a so-called small game, Battlefield 1942, and in hindsight, yeah, it was. But to us, it was our world. So we kind of went to the best enemy territory team in the world, which was another so-called small game, which it was. But that team decided they wanted to team up with us. So we had 2 of the best teams in the world in 2 of the games that weren't still at that point were not called esports. And then we also reached out, I think it was 2000. Dignitas had been established like 2003. I think it was like 2004. Call of Duty came out. So we approached one of the best teams at the time to come and join us too. So they did. And they were probably the best team in the world, but we didn't know because there weren't LANs, international LANs like that then. So we had 3 of the best teams in the world at games that we were running. And we started getting noticed because we had sponsors that were looking to sponsor gaming, esports, and they wanted teams that were successful, and we were winning everything. So that's kind of what happened. So how after that, what happened? It was basically, as we did develop into a business, it was like, okay, what games will be good? What games do we like? That really kind of like a lot of my outlook in life is like, you've got to enjoy what you're doing. A lot of games that came along, we just liked the game, like Trackmania, which still exists today. That was a small game, so-called small game, still is apparently, which was great for Team Dignitas because we had, I think, 7 world champions in that game. And then there were some games that came along commercially. We tried it. There was one EA made Crisis. I think we only played 1 tournament, but we won the first tournament. It didn't last very much longer after that. But all sorts of different reasons after that. League of Legends was just, when that came along, that was just a no-brainer. This seems cool. It wasn't big then. It was literally, this seems cool. We like it. Should we add it? And we did.
Cool.
There's a whole other story around that one as well. But yeah. But now most esports teams are decent sized businesses. Obviously, there are smaller ones now. So now it depends on what you're looking to do. Obviously, with franchise, some of the leagues are franchise, so then you need millions to get into that. Some games you can be lucky and just pick up a good team, or that's how some will start now. They're a good team. If you look at Into the Breach, for example, great Counter-Strike team, and look what that Counter-Strike team created now. And now it's at all with lots of different games.
Yeah, definitely. I like, just in terms of Into the Breach, I hadn't really personally heard of them until all of the CS:GO major stuff was happening. But they're definitely on my radar now for sure.
Good guys.
But yeah, what strategies do you believe are crucial for like nurturing and sustaining a competitive esports team, both in terms of like player management, but also like an organizational structure?
For me, management is everything. So running Team Dignitas, it was literally everybody from top to bottom, player, staff member, understanding who is working with you, for you, why they're there, what do they want. So for me, it's like just managing your team, and that includes everybody that's helping, all the support staff around it, and just knowing, is everybody pulling in the right direction? What are they there for? What do they want? That's a big That's a really big question. Like, what does a pro player want? I know what I wanted when I was a player. I wanted to win everything, and that was it. Number one goal. So you've got to understand that. For me, like I've always wanted to support the grassroots stuff as well. That's extremely important. And yeah, and I think that especially from esports teams, every interaction they have with grassroots in any shape or form is extremely important. But the main thing is management. Like if you can't manage what you have, like yeah, you got a problem.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I remember before you speaking about finding out exactly like what drives players and like
Yeah,
getting into their brains about what will make them the best possible player.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what are the top three opportunities you see for esports in the future?
Um, so for me, the number one thing is it's an opportunity I feel because it's just vital. It's sustainability.
Hmm.
Like how do we make esports sustainable from at all levels, from the pro level? I've heard some people call it the esports winter. I don't think it's as bad as some people have been saying. It's not been great, to be honest. If you look at like all the layoffs in gaming and what's happened at a lot of the big orgs recently. But sustainability has always been the problem since the early days, where some people saw esports, came in, spent a load of money quickly, disappeared, set everybody back again. I've seen that so many times over the years. So ultimately, sustainability is the number one.
Yeah.
Like it's the number one. It should be the number one goal for anybody around esports, from like the people that make the games to the people that are playing and people even, to be honest, watching. Ultimately, esports at some point is going to contribute a huge amount to the GDP of the UK. That's important to me. So meld those two that into one. Basically, esports hits like society. Like if you look back 25 years ago, there wasn't social media. Like if you can imagine that, anybody that's grown up with social media, you imagine not having social media and running esports teams. Like at one point, Twitch didn't exist when I was around at the beginning, and so who was watching? How did they watch? Like, yeah, I just think like the sustainability leads to everything, and that's like anybody that's inspired to get into gaming, the aspirational factor of it. I can't really think of too much else other than that. That's been my biggest fight since day one. It's like, who's paying for this? How do you pay for it? How does everybody make money?
Yeah.
How does everybody enjoy it? That's kind of more important as well.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And what would you say are like the challenges that the esports industry needs to overcome in order to like make the most of that and sort of like get that sustainability?
Well, again, the same. I'll start off with sustainability, but I've just killed that one. So sustainability. Once you've got that, then the esports itself, once it matures, it's funny in my own head saying that esports is so young now because I've been in it so long, but it is extremely like it's just a new industry. So as it matures, as the sustainability appears, as the revenue streams come in for everybody, and then once that starts to kick in, and it's starting to happen, but too slowly, in my opinion. The ecosystems, how is every single ecosystem in esports gets supported, from top level esports to pro players to the level below that, challenger players to university level to like secondary school level. How is all of that ecosystem? How does it all connect? And then once we get to a point where we're similar to sport, where in society people don't stare at me when I say, yeah, people play games for money. Still, that happens now. Still,
Yeah.
Once that becomes normal, and as I get older, I've always said this: as I get older, the more accepted it will become. That's where all of that kicks in. What I've just said. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we can say that obviously. I mean, the gaming industry has been bigger than like movie and TV and stuff combined for a while now. So hopefully we'll see esports stay on that same trajectory. Sort of holding on to that. But yeah, so as someone like deeply embedded into the esports community, what do you think are like the most common misconceptions or stereotypes about esports, and how do you address them basically?
Um, I kind of killed this question with the last answer. It's like mainstream. Once we're accepted in the mainstream, and it's just, this is not like you get somebody looking at you like you are absolutely nuts when you're talking about what's happening in esports now. And I heard somebody literally last month say, "Is that a real thing?" Or is this it just amazes me. But how do you do that? Education. Like education is everything from me talking about it wherever I go to the whole university system, like NSE, everything. Everybody's supporting all of this stuff. People like Intel supporting it. I've got my Intel t-shirt on today, but supporting that.
Repping.
That's how you do it. It's education on what it actually is.
Yeah.
I went to a graduation ceremony at Chichester Cathedral in October. They awarded me an honorary doctorate, which was pretty cool. So I'm now Dr. ODEE, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
But I sat there on the stage. It was the most terrifying experience of my life, almost. And I was, as I watched the ceremony, like, I don't know, 150 kids came past me. Sorry, students. 150 students came past me, and every single degree that was handed out, every single thing they were studying is now involved with esports. So,
Oh, cool.
from script writers to makeup to every single, like, when I started in esports, none of these jobs existed. There was nothing available. There were no jobs in esports.
Yeah.
So now, if you look at that just shows me that's how far we've come so quickly. So for me, the education side and everybody that goes through esports universities and esports degrees and all of that stuff, they're the people that will be setting out what happens next. It won't be me. I've tried. I tried for 25 years to get it going. I did my best. Now I've got to hand the baton on and watch what other people do with it. And yeah, hopefully, just people don't forget what happened before. That's the bit that worries me the most.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've definitely seen changes in stereotypes and people's misconceptions and everything changed throughout the years since I've been playing and obviously now working. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see that firsthand. But there's definitely still a long way to go.
Yes.
But yeah, so would you be able to share some sort of like key milestones or moments that you believe have significantly shaped the growth of the esports industry as a whole?
So for me, and this is not a sponsored stream by me anyway, but the tech, like I went to the Science Museum last month. The London Mayor had an esports event, and in the Science Museum there's a I think it's called Game On exhibit, and it just shows like video games through the years, and basically looking at the wall. It's a long wall of different dates from like 1980 or 75, where it was, right up to like now. And it was basically my life looking at the wall of like Atari and BBC Computer and ZX Spectrum. So how the tech has enabled like gaming and esports to like just get better. If like some people say to me, "What's your favorite game?" and I say, "Oh, I used to love Chucky Egg," and I show people now like who've never seen Chucky Egg before on a ZX Spectrum, and they stare at it like, "This is it." I'm like, "Yeah, it's such a great game. It was a great game. It's a great game." But now the technology is just brought gaming forward so much, and then you look at the graphic, it's immersive. It's just totally immersive. Like even things like Football Manager, which I love. Just yeah, the technology is just mad on like where that has gone now. So definitely the tech, and Intel have been there since the beginning, like supporting esports, and they supported Team Dignitas very early on. Another one, Riot Games. I think Riot Games helped change the course of where esports went, and they still do it now. They've done so much with League of Legends, especially, obviously. And they got Valorant, and now they've announced some more. They have some more games, and they've announced their first fighting game. It's coming next year.
Yeah.
I think what they did for where we are now is just pivotal. Like, nobody can change my mind on that one. Twitch, Twitch TV, that coming along. So changing from Justin TV in 2007, 2008, and then Twitch appearing. Twitch changed everything because, and I've said this so many times in so many interviews, but it did. It just meant the eyeballs went through the roof. We're doing this on Twitch right now, so it's kind of fitting. And I look to the left of me right now, and there's streamers streaming tournaments happening right now, and that didn't happen right at the beginning of esports. It was really hard to watch anything, and anybody trying to broadcast it would cost them a fortune. So we're so lucky that Twitch exists. I wish it did more to, like, I don't know, turn it into, I don't know, did an Elon Musk and just like put a rocket behind it, make it go quicker. I don't know what they'll do, but also we'll come on. I saw a question for later, so I'll save the next bit for then. And then the last one, like as I've said, the education side of gaming and esports is just absolutely vital in every single way. I've been quite a few places in the last year. Last week I was at Oxford University, the ESI event, and just sitting in that place, my mind was just, whoa, look where I actually am sitting now because of esports. And all of these students that are coming through are going to be, like, as I said, directing where we go in, I don't know, 5-10 years, changing everything that esports is and making it better and sustainable, hopefully.
Hopefully.
So yeah, so they're the things, they're the pivotal things for me. So education has always been a massive one for me. I think I was involved with the first varsity match with Intel and Oxford and Cambridge in 2013, I think it was. So I've been fascinated by that because I left school at 15. So university stuff it's always fascinated me.
Yeah, I can totally agree with a lot of those points for sure. But yeah, what role do you believe grassroots initiatives and community engagement play in the long-term sustainability and growth of esports?
I've cheated on that question already. Again, it's extremely important. I always look at this as like that they're the next gamers. When I was running my own team, like every bit of support for anything below the pro level breeds the next pro gamers, and that's always going to happen. I always look back to, like, when I grew up on a council estate, so every Tuesday we had something called Tuesday Club. So I go to the local community centre, and that's where I'd start playing Space Invaders and Asteroids and Missile Command. And did that set me up for esports? No one will know. I don't even know. But that got me into gaming, that's for sure. And just like at that point, nothing like that existed. But it was for me, it was just so cool to do it because I was good and I was better than all my friends. So that's why I wanted to do it. For grassroots, it's extremely important. That's why I love things like Insomnia. Insomnia's always been one of the best lands in the world, I think, for grassroots, where people can just come, make friends, play games, and socialize. And that's really, really important. I think it's I-72 at the end of the month. I went to I-4. That was my first one at Newbury Racecourse in 2000.
Damn.
And I didn't take my computer, and I walked around for like a day, like being really annoyed that I didn't take my own computer, so I couldn't actually play. So it was kind of annoying. So yeah, grassroots are always supporting any way I can. It's vital.
Awesome. So, in your experience, like, what skills and qualities are essential for aspiring esports professionals, whether they're players, coaches, or sort of the support staff sphere around that?
There's a pattern with my answers here. I'm nicking the answers from later questions, but it's basically drive. Like I could pick a load of buzzwords around drive, but like if you don't have that passion, that's a buzzword, to do anything. To be perfectly honest, like if you can't be asked to do it, if you're only half asked to do something, why bother? So literally, it's the drive. So in my experience, the best players, coaches, staff, it's like the passion like around what they're doing, and loving what you're doing. That helps, especially when you're getting paid to do it as well. And understanding, like, again, understanding people, that's a key thing for me. I've always tried to do that. Like, some people you just can't understand. They're the hardest ones to manage. And several world champions I've had, and that's those guys. It's like really what's going on in their head. Um, and yeah, just listening. That's another one. Listening to people. A lot of people are good at like allowing people to talk, but do you actually listen to what whoever's talking to you is saying? I'm guilty of that sometimes, I must admit. But listening to things and taking it in and remembering stuff, that's extremely important. If you look at like many people that went through Dig over the years are in positions of power now in the gaming industry, sports industry, other places as well. I had the weirdest business call last year where I introduced one of my former managers to one of my former players. Both of them were in different companies doing esports, introducing them to somebody that I knew because of Dig. And it was, and at one point in the call, I was like, "This is, you know him, you know him, you know him, you all know me," and that was it. I just shut up and sat back. It was like, "This is like my children have grown up." So just helping people, like I've always tried to help people that like have that drive, and just getting them into cool places. And now they've there are many out there now. I look up at my Discord, which is up here. That's what I'm looking up there. There's a channel of old Dignitas people, and many of those people are in really cool companies now that are still involved in esports. So I won't name names on those.
Don't want to drop any names. That's fair. That's fair. So as esports continues to grow and change, what advice could you give to students looking to enter the industry and sort of make a meaningful impact? Obviously, you spoke a bit about drive. I'm sure that's in there as well. But is there anything else?
Yeah, so going off that last answer, the drive, and I understand many students don't know what they want to do yet. That's normal. Um, yeah, I won't leave that. I won't say that bit. That's nicking a later question that I saw. But I think you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in like what you believe in. The cool thing with esports, no one has all the answers yet. Like I don't care what anyone says. If someone says, "Oh, I get you," like no one knows all the answers. If we had all the answers, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd be sitting on a beach in Barbados. uh, but I'm enjoying. I'm still trying to find the answers. I think I'm hoping, as I've said, that the next generation of especially students that go through like this kind of thing, like with FutureGen, you're going to go out and make stuff happen and believe in what you want to see and make happen. Once you get in the door, like getting the door open to anywhere you want to go, that's the hard bit. So yeah, belief, drive, but yeah, the FutureGen people especially. This is why I'm a big supporter of this. Always have been. Yeah, go and make it happen. I'm watching.
Awesome. And yeah, just my final question. Yeah, definitely related, but what do you think students looking to get into the esports industry can do to stand out in such a competitive industry? Because, like you said, there's loads of people wanting to get in, and there's so few roles available. What can they do to stand out?
Get noticed. Like, all right, how do you do that? So, I'm actually very guilty of this. I get really nervous talking to new people, and I don't approach them. But then I learned after years, it's like if you don't get if you get the chance to get to somebody, just ask, go up and ask a question. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to reach out. Like you send an email, message someone. If they don't answer, they don't answer. And that will happen most occasions because the way people contact people now through, especially in the business world, through LinkedIn or whatever, they don't have time to like look at the email. But you never know. Like I have seen some emails or some messages where I've just like stood out to me instantly, and I've followed them up. There was one particular one I got at the end of last year, just after joining Scan from a society lead at a university, esports society, and it just needed a bit of help. And it was the first two lines was literally it was apologizing already. Like, I don't even know you yet, and you haven't even asked a question. You're apologizing. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to help him. So we did. You never know. So just reach out. Don't be scared of people. Come up and ask people. Network. Network is absolutely key. There's a couple of people in chat that I know I've met because they've networked. There's one particular guy that did the Chichester Esports course. Once he graduated, he was stalking me. He was at every event I was at. But in my head, that was, hang on, if I'm at these places, he's doing the right thing, because if I'm here, he's at the right places. So yeah, just as I said, like, once you get your foot in the door, that's hard enough, getting your foot in
Yeah.
the door. But once you get in the foot in the door, it's even harder then, because what they'll do is they don't sit there. You just imagine this, like they'll put a brick wall behind the door, like literally, okay, hi, nice to meet you. We open the door. Right now, what you've got to work out, and you can only do this yourself. How do you take that wall down brick by brick and then get through the door? That's the hard bit, and it's not easy. Just you like, again, everything I've said, believe, go for it. Like, just literally just go for it. That's my advice. If you don't go for it or try, you'll never know.
Definitely. I've sort of tried to do that a bit myself, going throughout university, but definitely getting into esports, like having loads and loads of different opportunities. And I know that if I didn't take this opportunity, it wouldn't have then led to this opportunity, and I wouldn't be where I am today. So I can, 100% agree with that. But yeah, that's all we have time for today. Where can people find you on socials, Odie?
So my Twitter is ODEE is OG, ODEE is OG. And yeah, reach out. I don't mind helping anyone. If I don't answer, I didn't see it normally. If you have me on Discord, I'm on Discord. That's probably the easiest place to get me. But if I don't look up to the right, I'm not going to see the message, because I turn all sounds off. Because you imagine being an esports manager and you've got so many players and staff that the pings on Discord did my head in.
Definitely. As a community manager, I can agree with that one. But yeah, so we have several other Intel past interviews on the Intel FutureGen Hub. So go check those out on our website if you want to get more insights into some key industry experts. But yeah, thanks for everything. The FutureGen cohort will be heading to a private session now with ODEE. But yeah, we'll see you guys again soon.
Cool. Thank you.